All right, so some of you guys asked me about this new model that popped up on Banggood called the T-Motor Feather, and yeah, I guess it's probably one that I'm not going to actually fly and review. I'm not going to even bother to try and acquire it because there really isn't anything interesting about it other than the fact that it's being advertised as being ultra light and ultra quiet. So, well, let's talk a little bit about the specs of this and how it compares to the BabyTooth and the EMAX Nanohawk X. That's what they specifically asked me about. The Feather is a 1S 3-inch quad. It's running off of a 3-inch propeller, the Avon. It's got a very tiny motor, which also makes it very light. So it's 31.5 grams without a receiver. So if you add a receiver, probably add a gram or two. So 32.5 to 33.5 grams. Now, when I did my video on the the BabyTooth, this is a modified BabyTooth. I did a video about 2 years ago on a BabyTooth build. These had the Kebab FPV 1202.5 motors here, and these are 11,500 kV. That weighed about 38.5 grams. So a bit heavier because it has a bigger motor. And I think that's the thing about the Feather. It's lighter because it's got a smaller motor and a much lower kV at 7,800 kV. So the combination of the lower weight and the lower kV of the motor, basically makes it more quiet. I'm not sure about how it affects efficiency. It does have another downside. The plug in the back is in an XT30 or a GNB27. It's like a PH 2.0 connector. I don't know if it has the rolled pins or the solid pins. It's probably the rolled pins or the folded pins. Most likely those are the easiest to acquire out there in terms of getting things in bulk. So the bottom line is between the BabyTooth, which you have to build, and I'll link that video down in the video description. Now, I have modified mine here. This is actually got a run cam split, I think. I'm not exactly sure where this came from. I never made a video on this one because I think I asked some of you guys about this and no one responded in the comments, so I just didn't bother putting a video together. At least that's what I remember. I make so many videos that I can't remember if I actually made that video, but I don't recall making a video about this mod. But I'll link the previous video, or the video where before I made this mod, where it's actually just analog and no HD camera. That was about 38.5 grams on this lighter frame setup. And then the other thing is, if you want something for performance, a little bit more like acro freestyle ability, I would look at this one here, the EMAX Nanohawk X. I don't think that the Feather from T-Motor is going to have any sort of freestyle capabilities. Like, you might have a little bit of flippy floppy capabilities, but I don't think it's going to have a lot of power. It definitely isn't going to be for racing. If you disagree with my assumptions on this, let me know in the comments below as to why you disagree about that. If you think that an 1102 7800 kV motor on 1S should outperform a 1202.5 11,000 kV motor on 1S, let me know in the comments below your reasoning behind that, because I think that the performance is going to be less. But the trade-off here, I think what T-Motor is targeting is people that want an ultra quiet quad, maybe for indoor flying. They're saying around 32 dB of sound, which is where it's going to be. That's going to be less than this. This is going to be closer to like 50 dB. Although in practice, there's even 50 dB is pretty quiet. So I'm not sure what the advantage is of having something super quiet like that and super light. The flight time is going to vary depending on the battery you use, of course. You can, whatever, probably 450 to 650, somewhere in there is probably going to give you a pretty good flight time on that. I'm sure around at least 5 minutes is my expectation on that. So that's why I'm not going to bother reviewing. That's why I'm putting this video out, just to answer questions about that. If you're looking for performance, get this one instead. I'm going to link this in the video description, the review of this, as well as where you can get this one. This is going to be way better in terms of performance. But if you think that the Feather is going to be for you because you want something super quiet and you want that super ultralight weight, yeah, that could be for you. It is also probably going to be a little bit more efficient with a lower kV motor in terms of flight time. You know, you can get this Nanohawk X and just put a motor output limit in this one in Betaflight to simulate the lower kV, get it down to like 8,000 kV from 11,000 kV, and get much more flight time. Of course, you know, you're trading that performance for flight time if you do that. But you can always, you know, go back to the full motor output limit of 100% and get the full performance out of this. So it's a little more versatile if you go with something like this, and you can just lower the motor output limit, motor kV artificially, and sort of simulate that higher efficiency for more flight time. Now, in terms of the noise level, that I don't know. You know, obviously this is heavier here. This is like 43 grams, I think. So, you know, you're still going to be heavier than the other ones. So if you're looking for that 32 dB noise floor, then maybe, you know, that's probably what you're going to have to go for. That's pretty much it. You know, there's not anything that super compelling about that model. It's just that it's got tinier motors. It's basically, because of the smaller motors, it is going to be a lot lighter. But you know, if you want to build something a little bit more with a little more performance, there's the BabyTooth, which you can get all the parts yourself. But honestly, just buying the EMAX Nanohawk X is going to be way simpler. And you have to go hunt for parts. It's already built and tuned and flies great out of the box. And actually, if I remember from that video, I compared the costs. It costs quite a bit more to build it yourself, and I didn't really notice much of a performance difference between the Nanohawk X and the BabyTooth that I built. And I think I was like 50% less or something like that, or 40% less. It was quite a bit less in terms of overall cost, and it's already built. So in terms of that, I would just go ahead and just get this if that's what you're looking for in terms of a 1S, you know, backyard flyer with a little bit of acro freestyle performance. Again, check out that video. I can do power loops and Matty flips and all that. You saw that in the video, so I'll link that in the video description. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, I'm not going to acquire that model. So if you think that I'm completely wrong about my assumptions about that model, let me know in the comments below what you guys think and the reasoning behind that. I would be curious to know why you think that I'm wrong about my assumptions. And that's going to do it for this one. Talk to you guys later.